Cal, you're a Golden Bear. Yeah, are you? Yeah, I went to Cal in '06. Oh my gosh, I graduated in '05. We must have crossed each other in the quad one day. Ah, best friends forever, go Bears. I know you've experienced that before. That one little tidbit starts everything. That starts that real relationship. And that's what we can inject into our content on our brands. The idea here is you need to put some more of you into your content. We always try to be like everybody else, but we need to embrace who we are and share that because we make these little connections. For example, when I started my podcast in 2010, right before, I went to my mentors and a few other podcasting people who were experts, and I said, guys, I have this amazing idea. So at the beginning of my show, I'm going to have my voiceover guy actually read off some fun facts about me in his movie guy voice. And I think this would be really cool, kind of a way for people to get to know me. And these experts, these people who are making millions of dollars a year, their response, Pat, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Nobody cares about your stupid little facts. Why would you do that? You're wasting time with the production of this. You're spending money on your voiceover guy. Don't do that. Just get right to the content, right to what people want. Well, I did it anyway. And 20 million downloads of my podcast later, these people are coming back to me, the same people. And they're saying, Pat, man, that was a smart move. You are a genius. And I'm like, no, I'm not a genius. I'm just being human. Because right now, it's not about B2B or B2C anymore. What's working is what my buddy Chris Ducker says, and that's P to P. Person to person, human to human. And this is how you become a human being online, by sharing these little bits and pieces about you that a friend would know about you. You're trying to be your audience's friend. This is how you make that quick connection right up front. So for example, just the other day, I was walking through the halls and just arrived from San Diego, and somebody came up to me who has listened to my podcast, and he goes, Pat, how's your fantasy football team doing? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it right now. Somebody else came up to me at a conference and was like, Pat, I'm half Filipino too. And we started this huge conversation about growing up as halfies. And this one time, this guy came up to me a little too close for comfort. He like leaned in. I thought he was like gonna kiss me or something. It was a little weird. And then he goes, Pat, I'm also afraid of spiders. It's okay. And we hugged it out. We were like bros after that. Spider-fearing bros. Now, what's a movie that I like, for those of you who know about me, what's a movie that I like more than anything in the world? Back to the Future, that's right. And I love Back to the Future, and I love it so much that I incorporate a lot into the content that I produce. For example, in Vegas, I did a presentation, and I actually arrived on stage in a DeLorean, which was pretty much the best day of my life. Now you might be wondering, okay, Pat, like you talk about Back to the Future, people know these things about you, like, okay, tell me how this actually helps you. Well, here's some tweets to, actually, the idea here is to embrace your weird is really what this is all about. But here's some tweets that I want to share with you. Andy says, Pat Flynn, I can't even watch Back to the Future anymore without thinking about Pat Flynn and SPI. Here's one from Joel. He says, look what I found at Target. When I think of Back to the Future, I think of Pat Flynn. Here's one from Chris, who said, Back to the Future is playing right now on ABC. I wonder if Pat Flynn can sense it. And yes, Chris, I can. No, you see, I've injected myself into people's everyday lives. Now, every time something Back to the Future happens, they see me. That's awesome. Got this tweet the other day because there's a special date coming up tomorrow. Back to the Future Day, 10/21/2015, which is the day Marty McFly goes into the future. Back to the Future 2. Any big plans? My plans are to hang out with you guys in the morning, then fly to New York, hang out with Pencils of Promise for the gala that night, and probably watch Back to the Future on the plane. So that's my plan. So the idea here is, again, to inject some of you into your brand, because those are what makes those real connections. So that's a moment of activation, as I like to call it. Now, a second thing you could do, again, we're converting people from casual audience, they just discovered you, to get them to become an active subscriber. I'll tell you a quick story about April, going back to her story about how she became a Backstreet Boy fan. It all started when she was 15 years old, and she had just broken up with their boyfriend. And it was a terrible breakup, apparently, but it's okay, that guy was a tool. But she was going through this struggle, and she was just depressed, right? And she turned on the radio, and she heard a song that she had heard many times before in the past. However, this time, it really resonated with her. Why? Because every single word in this song seemed to describe every single thing that she was thinking and going through. Now, the name of the song was Quit Playing Games With My Heart by the Backstreet Boys. Quit playing games with my heart. That one. Now I can get my own frame picture, right? No. And so from that point forward, she started paying attention. She actually bought the CD for her Sony Discman, kind of dating her a little bit there. And I think it was the Millennium album, and then she bought concert tickets, and then from there the whole sequence of events happened. But the purpose here of this story is to share with you that if you can define the problem better than your target customer, they will automatically assume that you have a solution. So like what Ryan Holiday was saying earlier, you really truly have to know that it starts with the pains, the problems, the issues, and the wants of your target audience. Not about a product that you think is going to be great, but something that your audience needs. And if you can define that better than they can, which means understanding the language that they use, amazing things will happen. So how do you define your audience? How do you define their problem better? Well, you have to understand what they're going through. How do you do that best? Literally have conversations with them. The one-on-one conversations I have with my audience every month, I actually pull out 3 or 4 people in my audience, I ask to get on a phone call with them or a Skype call, and we just talk. The things that I discover about my audience during those one-on-one conversations have been complete game changers for my brand. And just understanding how they talk about these problems. I know that they're having these issues, but how do they describe it? That way I can speak on their level. And so, to help you define this, we're going to talk about your whole audience, W-H-O-L-E. And I'm not going to describe these too in detail, but really quick, the W is where. Where do they hang out? Where do they go? This way you can kind of discover where they're hanging out and how they talk to each other. Forums, blogs, websites, where do they hang out? H, what are their habits? What are the things they do? What are the things they like, dislike? O, what are their obstacles? What truly is holding them back from achieving this goal? You know that, it's going to help you provide that solution. L, the language, like I said earlier, understanding the words that they use and the same order, etc. And E, what are their excuses? Oh, I'd love to do that, but what? If you understand your whole audience, you're going to understand how to better provide for them. Now, there's a company out there that we all know that seems to understand us a little too well sometimes, and that is Amazon. This is the homepage for me on Amazon. Giant Star Wars promo at the top, men's graphic tees. I actually have 3 of the 6 of these shirts. Now let's scroll down and see what else Amazon has to serve me. Oh, related to items I viewed. Back to the Future Lego set. How did you know? How did you know? Architecture on the other side. That's the industry I came from, the architecture industry. What? Now, of course, we all know they're using algorithms and special equations and search histories and queries and all these other things to figure this out. But you know what? It works. It works doubly well. Now, if I got 2 of them because you need one to build and then the other one stays in the box because the value might increase. That sort of thing. Well, how can we apply this? We're not Amazon. We don't necessarily have those resources. Well, it's all about personalization. I'm going to share with you something that I'm working on right now in my business. A big change in my email sequences, which have now turned from, well, just putting everybody into one single bucket and serving up a series of autoresponder emails from there, to now dividing my email audience and having them self-segment themselves into a particular list that they need to be in based off of a number of things. And I understand these things because I read Ryan Levesque's book, Ask, and I have adopted the same strategies to ask questions like, what are you struggling with? That one question alone is something that you can ask your audience in an email sequence, on a blog post, on a podcast, in a personal call, to understand truly what they're going through. What are you struggling with? And through that question alone, I was able to divide my audience into 3 different buckets, A, B, and C. But again, it wasn't always like that. Traditionally, this is how it works. You get traffic, just annual traffic coming to your site, they go to your webpage, they see an opt-in form, they subscribe, and they go into your main bucket. And then you serve them some emails from there, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, however many days in between each of them, right? But now we are starting to understand that there are more advanced tools out there that can help us segment our audience so that they can get served better emails. And based off of their survey results,